A beautiful Tuesday morning. It is Parenting Tuesday, a day I know you wouldn't want to miss for anything, especially this Tuesday when I'll be hosting an amazing panel of a mother and daughter. And it is about the reading culture in children. Also writing, because this girl also writes. She started reading at the age of 10. How did she do that? Because at some point the parents decided we are taking away the TV. Would you do that to your child? Because nowadays, I mean, the interaction or the communication or, you know, whatever, the most activities that our kids do nowadays is through TV and technology, the phones. But this child, the mom decided, no, we are doing it differently. I'm taking away this TV and we must do something constructive with your life. I am hosting Abia and Dr. Muthoni in studio with me this morning. And please make sure that you loop into the conversation. It's going to be hot, it's going to be nice, it's going to be a learning opportunity for you, especially as parents. And even the young people, how do you get to the culture of reading? So talk to us on 20316, 0786 316 316 is our number. WhatsApp. Talk to us and look into the conversation. Welcome to the show, Abia and Mommy, Dr. Muthoni.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for making time to be here. Dr. I'll start with you. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Dr. Muthoni Omuhango.
Yes.
I'm so honored to be here after 2 years.
Karibu tena.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm a publisher, Christian publisher in Africa. I'm an author's convener, I'm an author, I'm a podcaster, I'm a blogger. Just my ministry is everything to do with literature.
Yeah.
I want God to use me to spread the gospel, but using Christian literature.
Amen.
That's my main goal. That's why I'm here on the earth.
I mean, with all those titles, with that kind of introduction, why wouldn't you not have a child like Abia? Abia, please introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers.
All right, so hi everybody, my name is Abia Adna McKenna Omuhango. I am also an author and I run a teens mentorship program. My list has not quite gotten as long as hers. Yeah. But for now, authorship, mentorship, I love teaching, I'm passionate about youth and reading.
You're headed there. You're
Yeah.
a mentor. In fact, you're almost there actually. Anyways, so please, let's start by telling us, how did you get yourself reading? How did you find yourself in the reading culture? You know, is it innate? Were you born with it? Because really, you've done amazing for yourself.
I mean, definitely having the fact that I have African parents means it was by force, by fire. So at some point when I was about 10 and my parents had recently started homeschooling, I think I spent way too much time, you know, because I'm not in school. It racks up the time on TV. And then one day they sold the TV. I got back and it was gone. The TV stand was just empty. And they said, we've sold the TV. Here's this big fat box of books. Get through them. And I was like, you've got to be kidding. Like, I don't know anybody who doesn't have, like, who sold their TV. I'm like, you know, maybe put a time limit on it, I would understand. But just outrightly selling it, I was just flawed. But I eventually got through the entire box of very thick novels. And I realized actually reading is not so bad. And it's I don't know, it's just one of those things that I fell in love with. And then shortly after that, I started writing as a result of that. Yeah. Okay.
Mom, what crossed your mind? I mean, how did you get to this idea of just taking away the TV completely? Like she says, at least we know there's, you know, time restriction and all that. But you decided to take it away completely. Why?
God speaks about Abraham and says, I know Abraham is going to teach his children and his household about God. And that's why we took her out of institutional school and started homeschooling. But then the TV was getting in the way. And, you know, sometimes kids negotiate with you and you're just like, oh, it's just this episode. And we thought she's gonna be a lawyer because she would even negotiate beyond, you know. So she just like, but it's just 3 episodes, so let me just watch the 3 episodes. Of iCarly and I don't know what else we were watching at that time. And we thought, my husband and I, his Patrick, this is not what God had told us about homeschooling.
Right.
We started homeschooling so that our children can walk in their purpose. And so the TV was not helping us in that direction. And so one day, actually, we didn't sell it. We give it to our nanny at that time.
Yeah.
And one day we just decided this thing is not contributing to our family and the things that God has spoken to us about our children. So when she went out, she came back in, there was nothing.
Oh.
It was gone.
Oh, wow. I can imagine the shock.
She was upset for some time. She would say, you're the strictest parents in the entire world.
As if she's had any other.
She's seen so many others, and we were very strict. But it's amazing because of the things that she was able to achieve. This child has had, now she's 22.
Right.
If we started maybe at 10, 11, she has 10 years experience at real work. She went for a mentorship for 1 year for business in an actual business for 1 year when she was, I think, 13 or about 13. She's run her own business for the last 10 years. She has a non-profit organization. She's paid school fees for 3 children for about 3 or 4 years from the process of her book when she wrote it. So there's so much our children can do. But the distraction, I thought our time it was bad. This time it's really bad.
Worse.
You have a TV, you have a phone, you have a laptop, probably you have a tablet. It's too much. And so for us, we just felt this is not contributing to the purpose of this child. And so we don't need it. Yeah.
Abia, how did that make you feel? And did you immediately adjust to, the reading culture? Did you immediately jump into it?
I think by nature I tend to go pretty hard at everything, but I think with reading it took a little while for me to get into it. I think also I didn't want to admit that it was fun because obviously then my parents would, they would win and they'd be like, haha, we told you it was fun. So I was like, I'm gonna read this book, but I'm not enjoying it. So I think it took me a little bit longer because I was trying to prove a little bit of a point that reading is not as cool as being on TV. But I think once I was over that, it's something that I loved after that.
Okay, so when your friends or peers are, because already you had friends, did you get rid of them because now you're starting to read? How did you go about that?
Actually, I think my parents have been very intentional on having me just being different from everybody. So the TV was not like an isolated scenario, being homeschooled already, that's different. You got dreadlocks, that's different. You read books, that's different. So I think at some point I just kind of got used to it. And also my parents are pretty strict on phone rules. So I got my first phone, I think 2 months to my 18th birthday.
Wow.
So my entire teenage was just strictly no phone. So I think at some point my friends were like, that one, she's a little bit different, but we'll keep her. Yeah.
But different in a very good way. Look at you now. Dr. So how do, for the parents who are watching, how did you manage to just introduce your daughter to the reading culture and also writing? Because I know she's a writer. We're going to talk about that. But how did you do it? And was it effortless,
Parenting is tough. It's really hard. I wouldn't want to, we have a grace on parenting. Apparently now she says she doesn't think we are very strict, and she is probably going to be even more stricter with, she's like, why didn't you push me here? I'm just thinking, man, we pushed you until you're just like, you guys are just too strict. But parenting is just about being intentional. So what do you want your child to become? What is God speaking to you about your child? Remember, this is not my child. I'm just a custodian. This child belongs to God. And so at the end of the day, you go back and ask God, what do you want with this child? That is the most important thing. And you do what it is that he has told you. Like she's saying, when we started homeschooling, now it's a fancy thing. We were on a road that is less, people less travel. And everybody's like, why? No, what does she do? I mean, it was more like a stigma thing. But we did it because that's what God told us to do. So for a parent listening, the question is, what has God told you about your child? And that's what you need to do, even if nobody else is doing it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy. When God tells Noah, build the ark, it was like, oh, yeah, let's support Noah. He's building the ark. No, everybody's laughing at him. So ask yourself, what has God spoken to you about your child? At the end of the day, won't be evaluated evaluation or reviewed based on what God spoke to you about your child. So it's all about being intentional.
Okay.
Yes.
But wasn't it easier for you because you know, you are also a writer, you read a lot. Did that contribute?
I was not even a writer. She was the first writer in the family.
Oh, she was a writer first before you?
Yes. So as we are just obeying God.
Wow.
So when she was 14, she wrote her first book.
Yeah.
And she's actually amongst our first authors in CLC. Now we've published so many.
Books, yeah.
But she was amongst our first authors, 2007. And we were not writers. Okay, we were writing our things in the background, but we were not published, you know, authors.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can brag a bit and say now I have 52 books, and she has 8 anyway. But she's actually the first writer. So it's not like I was an author.
Not because of what you were doing that,
No, it's just obedience to God and what we were so clear that God has spoken to Patrick and I and saying, this is what I desire, or God saying, this is what I desire for this child. And so it's just an act of obedience.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Abia, what role has reading and even writing played in your life up until this point?
I think I can start with reading. I feel like because when I was like younger, I spent a lot of time like in books. I think it developed my imagination in like in a really good way because I'm just naturally like a creative person. So I feel like a lot of the things that I do in media, be it filmmaking, be it doing voiceovers, drawing, that kind of thing, I feel like I don't think I would have been able to do it as well as I do right now had I not, you know, had a love for stories and for storytelling. And I think even writing as well. I feel like almost all art mediums, they start with something, even movies, you know, it's a script that you start with. So I think it's a good foundation for me personally as a creative. It's a really useful skill to have also like in my day-to-day work. It's like how writing constantly, because I've been writing since I was 10 and like journaling, like I will find anything to write at any point. So I feel like it's also taught me to organize my mind in a certain way and articulate myself in a certain way as well.
Organize your mind.
And
so therefore your life is structured from a very, very tender age. That's fantastic, because I mean, I know most adults who, even journaling is an issue. You know, you're told, just put things down. But I know it's not, it wasn't an easy journey. Daktari, so this is your profession now. You're a publisher, you're a writer. Does it affect your parenting style in any way? Because I know you have other children, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
There is still other children. They say like there's so many. I wish there were 5. They're just 2 and a full stop. Yes, my belief is that whatever it is that, whatever profession, occupation, our calling, God has called us as parents. God has put resources inside there to be able to help your children. So you could be a teacher, your child will not turn out to be a teacher. Like she wants to be an architect. We are publishers, the dad they die, and we are not expecting that she's going to become a publisher. But in that profession you're in, there are things that God wants you to teach your child, or your child needs, because God is very intentional. It's not like just, oops, okay, an architect has landed into a publishing home. No, God is very intentional. It's the personalities, it's the home environment, it's the spiritual growth, it's many things, the work ethics that our children need to be able to read or to learn from us. And our parenting style has been more of, in storytelling, we call it show, don't tell. So as we just parents, we just want, I've seen you do this and this and that, and then they see you doing something different. But our style is in the calling that we have to use literature to preach the gospel. Our children can pick different things that will help them to become whatever God wants them to become. So we have an aspiring architect, we have a vet, an aspiring, vet. Yeah. We have a chef. Those are not things the dad and I are actually doing as a career or profession. But in our calling as publishers, they are picking all these things and platforms and networks and opportunities for them to become.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that. Show, don't tell.
Yes, show, don't tell.
Because kids actually learn by watching and just looking, isn't
Absolutely.
it? Yeah. Okay. Abby, please talk to us about now mentorship, because I heard somewhere about you being a mentor. Let's move from reading now and writing. How about mentorship?
So I think mentorship and teaching is something I have been very passionate about ever since my sister was born. So we have quite a large age gap. I'm 22, she turns 12 in September. Wow. So it's 10 whole years. So I think after she was born, I really had to like style up properly. You know, I'm not the only child anymore. But I think at some point when she was about, 2, maybe 3, and she was going through, tantrum phases, and I'm just like, I'm trying to help this child. Sometimes I'm like, don't tell mom and dad this or else you're going to get a whooping. And she's just like, no, I'm going to do whatever I want. And I'm like, I'm like flabbergasted. I'm like, I'm trying to help you. Why aren't you listening? And I think that's the point when I realized, 1, I love teaching. 2, also, I think the ability to listen to your elders, the ability to listen to people, who you think aren't, shall I say, quote unquote cool or quote unquote don't know it, because youngsters are always just like, oh, you don't know it how it is. I think that ability to listen is something that has saved me a lot of heartache, and also it's saved me a lot of time as well. Right. The ability to just listen to everybody, and my parents have very wide networks, very wide circles. So when people are just like, Abia, do this and this and this, when I was in college, this is where I went wrong. When I was, getting ready for marriage, this and this. And I listened, and I was able to advance my life a lot. So that's something I also would like to be able to do for younger people. I just don't want people to go, or rather young people to go into the world unprepared. And I'm trying to bridge the gap between, let me see what the older generation has to say and how the younger generation perceives it. Okay. Yes, so that's something we try to do at the mentorship program. So it's something I've been doing for the last 10-ish years, teaching and mentoring. So the first teaching job I got, I was, I think, 13, and it was like teaching itty-bitty little kids.
Oh, wow.
In Kibera, yes. So that's something I've always wanted to do.
Fantastic. Yeah. But before we get back to the conversation, there is, a comment here, Daktari and Abia. Someone saying, good morning, Sally. I have a friend who has raised a 15-year-old without a TV, radio, and phone. Her daughter is into books, and I'm telling you, she's amazing, just like you, Abia. A conversation with her feels like talking to a 35-year-old. Her understanding of life in Christ is on another level. Reading is indeed a beautiful thing in raising kids. Daktari, do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
That reading is a beautiful thing?
My mother-in-law says they won't die. That's what she told me.
Yeah.
We restricted Abia's time to go out. She would go out in the morning or over the holidays. In the morning, no lunch, no tea, no nothing. Come back at 5. And we were like, no, this is not it. And it's good, for a parent. You're like, what am mtoto aende? Just be out there and do something. Yeah. And we cut that out, and now we're like, you're out. You go meet your friends, play with them. An hour or 2 hours, and she was also not happy with that. So I was talking to my mother-in-law. She's called Ruth, an amazing woman. Wow. And in passing, I said, where is Abby? I say she's sulking because we've cut out her time, staying out the whole day. And we're like, you have to find other things to do. And my mother-in-law told me they never die. Saying even mine I raised like that, and so you have my son in your house. Wow. Yeah, they will not die. So sometimes we think when we say no to children like it's a bad thing, but it's actually a good thing. So I agree with that.
You agree with that? Yeah. Is reading genetic in your family? Because I'm noticing, Abia, you, the dad, the grandma here, is it a genetic thing? If I may ask.
I think this life, sadly, it's all about being intentional.
Yeah.
Some families travel. I wonder, how do people get to do 5 holidays or travels in a year? Everything is just being intentional. What do you want as a tradition for your home?
Yeah.
What is it that God wants to use in your family? It could be different things. So any family can be a reading family.
Yeah.
It's just being intentional. Kids also have to see you do it.
Do it, yeah.
So you tell your kids read, what are you reading? You tell us which book you're reading.
Right.
And then even us, we are going to read the one you bought.
Right.
But what the struggle we are having, like we run a reading club, Mama Africa Book Box.
Yeah.
And I think we'll be talking about how do we help parents to help their children to read.
Yes.
And one of the biggest struggle that we had last year is kids who have parents who have paid for them to go to the club, but the parents do not. The kids have never seen the parent hold any book. That's a struggle.
Yeah.
So kids learn from observing. It's the show, don't tell.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to also help in our homes. Any value you want for your home, you have to start and do something you as a parent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Abia, what advice would you give, like probably your age mates or even younger, even older people who may just want to start reading? Is it too late for the older guys? And for the younger people, how do they start this journey?
I think for the older people, I would say it's never too late to invest in yourself. You know, you don't say, oh, well, you know, I've passed this age, so I'm just not going to do anything. No, it's like invest in yourself at whatever stage in life you find yourself. For younger people, I would say be intentional about the choices you make. I think it's very easy for us as a generation to move in a direction and say, oh, we don't do this and we don't, we. But when you stand before God, or even at the end of your life, when you're thinking back, there's no collective we that were, you know, thinking back. It's going to be you and the choices that you made. So I would say make choices that, I wouldn't say make you happy, but like invest in yourself, you know, be it reading, you know, be it expanding your mind, be it learning, whatever it is. Invest in yourself.
Invest in yourself. Yes. I can see another engagement here, and then someone is saying, allow me to encourage the daughter with this phrase: authors never die, for their wisdom lives with us forever.
Amen.
And I'm so proud of her, especially when I hear her talk of how she mentored other kids. God bless you, Abia. Awesome. So keep talking to us, keep engaging us on 20316 SMS line, and WhatsApp us on 0786316316, and be part of this beautiful conversation where this morning we're being mentored by a 22-year-old. Yeah. Now, Daktari, so you have these children, and probably as a parent out there, a viewer and a listener, you're there and you're wondering, what strategies can I put in place just to have my kids, you know, be consistent in their reading habits, for example? How can they do that?
One, we are coming from a system. If you're a parent right now, you probably did 844, unless you did the British or something. But for Kenya, most of us did 844. And it's a system where we crammed to pass the exam and burn the books.
Absolutely.
So we never associated reading with fun. And so what I encourage parents, make reading fun. Have a reward system. I know I got this book. If you read, we can go to the supermarket, and kids are very easy to please. Sometimes I tell my kids, when you finish, everybody a budget of 100 bob. The smaller ones, not this one.
This one is making enough money already.
No, this one has her own money. And we'll do a trip to the supermarket. You have a small budget. You can buy whatever you want. Of course, we've defined what whatever means. Read with them. If you have smaller kids, act out those stories, take a toy and just have fun. Make reading to look fun to the children. So that it's not a chore, or you know, this thing we are required to do like it used to be for us in 844. And I also encourage parents, the CBC system, it's really a good system. Actually, it's what we started homeschooling. That system or that model is actually what drove us into homeschooling. Now it's available for everybody. It's a good system. Invest in the reading, make it fun. Let them see you do it as well. Pick a book, even if you're not, you know,
a reader.
I'm not a reader, so I don't. You have to demonstrate.
Okay.
You have, if your kids see you put effort in anything, they will also put effort in it.
Okay.
And then don't do it alone. There are many clubs out there, different organizations, publishers, writers groups. They have different clubs. Oh, sorry, reading. I was like, we are writing. Yeah. After they read for some time, they will start writing.
Become writers,
but reading clubs. So, like, you can join CLC. We have Mama Africa book box, and let your kids also come and find other kids their age who are reading. This November, we published 15 books by kids as young as 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, so when your child has some interest in reading, in writing, and they see their peers doing this exploit, then they are inspired or motivated to keep doing it.
Talk to us about Mama Africa Book Box.
So we have done books for adults for so many years. My husband and I, we are now 15 years in CLC.
Whoa.
I know a generation, not many people stay in one place for a long time,
15.
but we thank God that we found our calling and purpose in CLC and what they do. CLC is an international organization. It's in 44 countries. And now for us in CLC, we are looking at how do we help. We've done adults for so many years, but we were thinking, of course, we had we call her our guinea pig, and it works. It works, and then we also got our other kids. Ella has done 6 books. She's doing her 7th. She's 11. Our son at 5 or 6. 6. He did his first cookbook. Now he has 5 books at 8 years old. And so we thought, this gift or anointing or gracing that God has given us, can we extend it to other families so that we can also help the children who are in those families to love reading, to start writing and so forth. And so this is a monthly club. We meet once a month and kids come and have fun. We just try to make it not the academic kind of, just fun activities around reading. We give rewards. We have bookmarks. From 4 years to 12. That's the heritage kids. And then we also do for teenagers 13 to 20 years. Yes.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
Yes, and the ones who are in the diaspora in other countries, we are starting Uganda this February. We'll be traveling to Uganda. We now also have a weekly show where your child can engage online for 1 hour. So let's make use of this technology that is distracting them. Let's put constructive things for them to be able to do.
Absolutely. And I like what you've just brought in online, because I was going to ask a question, Abia, on, you know, would you also encourage, you know, guys out there to just read even online digital books? Are they also, is it as good or interesting as a physical book?
Well, there are people who have very strong opinions on that. I'm personally not one of them. I don't mind. So I can read ebooks, no problem. I actually prefer them because I can like highlight and write notes without damaging the actual book. So with like physical copies of books, I can't bring myself to like actually write something on it. It hurts.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because I'm like, this is a book. I can't erase it after that. Yeah, but however you get the information, be it ebooks, be it audiobooks, be it a physical copy.
And probably even the advantage of ebooks or even digital books is that you can walk, you can be doing something and still listening to.
Yeah, like my dad loves doing that.
Oh yeah? Okay. What opportunities have you received just from, or have you gotten from reading and writing? Have you networked, collaborated with people, those relationships? What opportunities has reading brought to you?
I think one of my mentors, he said, I think your book is like your business card, you know? Sometimes there are doors that open for me that have not really much to do with what I've written in the book, but just simply the fact that I've demonstrated that I can write a book, and people are like, oh, I'd like to get to know this person. So, you know, you just come somewhere and you're just like, hi, my name is Abby, I'm an author, and suddenly people are willing to listen. Yeah, so I think it opens a lot of doors and opportunities for you, and it doesn't even have to be in the specific field that you wrote in. I think that's the thing, people are like, you know, what field do I write in so that I can branch? No, it's like I've had teaching opportunities because of my job. I've had photography opportunities because of my book. I've had just all kinds of different opportunities, even the ability to network. So you just see people pulling me aside and they're just like, I wanted to introduce you to my friend. Do you know this girl is an author? So that's usually how I get introduced.
And there's something I heard you talk about some time, and it was about you picking Mommy's Call. I think you're happy or something. Tell us about that.
So that happened when I was about 14 or 13, if I'm not wrong. So at that point, I was her PA. I would follow her around everywhere, pick her calls, whatever I could do at the time. So one of the calls that I picked was from a man, well, I think he was a client actually at the time, publishing client. His name was Julius Moebia, right? And I picked and we talked, obviously, what do you need? My mom is driving, how can I help you? And he's just like, how old are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm 14 or I'm 13. And it's just like, you sound very mature for like a 14-year-old. And I'm like, thank you. And then from there, I think it just snowballed into conversations. That's actually how the book came about, from that conversation.
Oh, wow. That's how you started. He's an author, you said. Okay.
Yeah, so that's how the conversations about the book came into place.
Daktari, when Abia was younger, or even her siblings right now, were you picking books for her, or do you just let them be and just pick whichever genre or books that they want to read?
If kids could parent themselves and make choices for themselves, they would not need parents. God would just be dropping us. You just find you on the earth, you know? But he knows these kids need us at least for the first 2 decades of their lives. And so the work of a parent is to steer the child in the direction. Of course, I'm not saying if your child is, you know, imaginative, they love novels, and you push them to maybe something, you know, self-help and all that. But I talk about a bend. Every child, you observe your child, especially when they are playing, when they are talking with their friends, and you notice this child is leaning or bending towards this, then now you capitalize on that. So the question is, what is it that your child is interested in? Then now you pick for them the books, especially when they are young, because they need you as a parent. That's God's model. He says Abraham will teach his household. So if the household could teach themselves, they would have just continued on. God would have said Abraham's household will steer themselves to the knowledge of God. Children need parents. And so you pick for them the books. Some kids love STEM, you know, science and math and all those things. Others, they like the creatives. So you're picking books that are going to intrigue, you know, your child. Remember, we are making it fun. So just pick books that are aligned to the interest that your child has. And you just need to spend just a little time with your child. I know we are very busy. And I say all these monies we are making, doing jobs and everything, it won't help. At the end of the day, it's Proverbs 22, train up a child in the way they should go. You can't train while you're in the office. And even if you have a demanding job, just find pockets of opportunities where you can be able to understand your child. Then now you steer them in that direction.
It's not about the quantity, but the quality.
The quality is
time
very
that you
important.
spend with your child.
Very important.
Okay. Let's get to the socials. I'm seeing Courier. He's saying, I'm a 24-year-old currently at a university, but I'm definitely very inspired by the young girl. These are the pillars we require in this generation. May God bless her and the great work she's doing. To the mother, Daktari, you are anointed, and I wish you could reach to many moms out there, many moms as possible, and we'll have a generation full of God-fearing, responsible young leaders. May God bless you.
Amen.
And another one. Whoa, lots of reactions coming in. Wow. Just wow. I think I have a role model. I'm 17 and I'd like to be an author, poet, and a counselor. Reading culture died in our home when I was little, but I was challenged by prayer circle, and seeing Abia motivates me. I'm on the right path now. One boy. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? How does that make you feel?
I think it makes me feel happy to know that all those years of my parents pushing me in a specific direction, they're not in vain.
You're impacting someone's life out there. Wow. And probably someone you may want to get her contact and just, you know, pick it up from there and walk with her in that journey.
We'll find you one boy.
Yeah, thank you. Daktari, so we've talked about the, you know, there's the traditional reading culture and now the digital. How can a parent strike a balance? Because with kids now, they're like, you know, these physical books, no, the phones and all that. How do you strike a balance as a parent?
I think as a family, we've tried to stay away from trends.
Okay.
Like she was saying, when everybody in our estate was putting blue hair, and we say no. Yeah, you just do the black.
Yeah.
And it's something we have to be intentional. The challenge with trends, they are in and they are out.
Yeah.
In the 1980s, we had bell bottoms. Then at some year, I don't know which year, you wear that, people are wondering, what are you wearing? Now I am seeing these things are back. So you don't want to be in a cycle of in and out of trends. Now you need to have a balance. Printed books going to go out of trend or fashion? We don't know. But can you keep your child balanced?
Yeah.
Because you also teach them how to appreciate life. We can't be doing things because that's what is in at this particular time. But also we cannot deny the technology space we are in. I say, like I just helped a new mom to start homeschooling on the online space. We have to set clear boundaries on the devices. One, I do not understand when she was, you know, younger.
Yeah.
Children as young as 8 years had phones. And she's like, I'm 14, I do not have a phone. Which is like, an 8-year-old does not need to have her own phone. She has a laptop, she has a computer, even if you can afford as a parent. And so it's for you deciding in your home. Of course, we are now also online. We do a lot of work online as a ministry. But we are saying you have to set clear boundaries. Where you say, so now when she was growing up, we said, you have access to my phone, you have access to your dad's phone. You can do whatever you need to do within the parameters that we have set. Please let your children use your devices as much as is possible. Now, if they have a laptop, set boundaries. Where must you use this device? At what time must you use this device? What will you be using this device for? And you agree on that ahead of time. And then she's very good on consequences. She's like, yeah, you need to have, you know, it's what action and consequences. And if you break this consequences, this action, what are the consequences? And then as parents, we have to see it through. That's why it's beating us. So your child is with a phone until midnight, until 1 a.m. You don't know what they are doing. And now that's where the devil is starting to take our children. Because in our fallen nature, even the child who says they are born again, even as grown-ups and born again, our fallen nature is always pulling us down. You finish this show, you've gone beyond the 1 hour you wanted, you start to check what else is Google saying, and you keep going, by the time it's 3 hours, and the child has been on the device, now they're in the wrong place. And at that point, you realize now the device that was supposed to be a blessing for your home is actually now destroying your child.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. Abia, needs, this is for you. There's a comment here for you. Abia needs to set a counseling and mentorship center for our kids. I feel it will make more sense to our children when they are counseled by one of them and follow her footsteps as a mentor. So proud of Abia and her mom at large. The mom has done it. Bravo, mommy.
Thank you. And dad too.
And dad, Then we have Favor One Boy, and Favor says, hi, Sally. Please say hi to Dr. Mudhoni and Abia. I'm a friend to them.
Oh,
and
that's
Dr.
Favor.
And Dr. Mudhoni's parenting inspires me a lot. And they've impacted me and my husband in many ways. Favor One Boy. So you can see the impact you guys have on both the older generation and the younger generation. And I mean, God's grace is sufficient, isn't it? Abia, with your friends now, so how do you, I'm sure not all of them are readers, but do you encourage them? Do you encourage them to be readers? And how do you do it? What strategies do you put in place?
So majority of my friends are readers. We don't all read the same genres. Some do more like medical type books, others more novels. But I think one of the strategies I use is just roping people into it. So I'm just like, hey, I'm reading this book. and I give it to them, and I'm just like, I'm gonna call you next month. Let's talk about it. Yeah, and it's like I think as my mom had mentioned with teaching kids how to read. You'd be shocked what people are willing to do just to be in your presence, like just to have community connection.
Right.
And over a book, most people would be willing to do that. If you're just like, hey, let's meet up, once a month and we can discuss even one chapter of this book. It doesn't have to be an entire book. Just saying, I'd like to meet you. We can talk about this book. We can bond over it. Yeah, so that's what I usually do. But I'm privileged that a good chunk of my friends are both readers and writers.
Show me your friends. Yeah. Dr. There's a question. Someone is asking, which one is more, preferable? Is that in English like that? Yeah. Which one is more preferred when it comes to reading either online or, the hard copy? Which one is better?
As much as is possible, we encourage the physical copy because one, it's something you can control. Say, sit there, Sally, here is the book, and you're reading. Now, the problem with online is that online is very individualized because you're using a phone, a tablet, a laptop. So it's you and, and all of us cannot check what it is that you're doing. And we cannot deny that life has become so busy. So I can tell you it is not possible for you to monitor your child the way maybe our parents monitored us,
True.
It's no longer possible. By the time you give that child your phone to read a book, you've received an email, you've received a call from work, then church, they want you to do this on Sunday, then your friend, then your mother, we have too much access to information. So life is moving too fast for us to be able to monitor children. And so when you can, as much as you can, we can start with a printed book. You can also do audiobook where you say, sit there, all of us are listening. You see now, audiobook you can't change and say, let me check something else. All of us are going to know you have moved from what we agreed. But the truth is, it's the ability to monitor what our children are doing online. It's becoming very impossible. And they will tell you, yes, I'll do this for 1 hour. Before you know it, you've also become busy. And it's been 3 hours. And your child has gone to many other things. So as much as you can, the printed copy, as much as you can. But then, of course, we are also embracing and balancing that they can do an e-book, an audio book, or an animated book, whatever it is. But I would recommend that we have this healthy balance.
Okay, we're almost coming to the end of the show, and I wouldn't want to end the show without you, Dr. because of the experience that you've had. What is your take on our habits as Kenyans, reading culture? Has it improved? Is it bad? Abby is shaking because she's already like, no, Abby, answer that, then Mommy can wrap it up.
I think, so one thing I will give Kenyans is there's this awakening where people are like, okay, maybe we do actually need to start reading books. But I feel like a lot of Kenyans kind of treat it as this thing that they also can't do. They're like, wow, you read, could never be me. And I'm like, it's a book. You can go buy one. You can, subscribe to a service. So that's usually my one little thing, because people are like, it's good that you read and da-da-da-da-da, and then they stop it when it's like pointing the finger at you. What are you going to do? What action points are you going to take? And then that's when they're like, maybe next time,
Okay. Dr.
I think we have seen a lot of growth. A lot of growth. When CLC started in Kenya in 2007, we used to ship books by containers. We'll do even 2-3 containers every year from authors from the US, from the UK, and so forth. And as a country, we are US consumers, like entertainment, books, preaching, sermons, everything. We are US consumers. But 2014, 2015, Gon spoke to Patrick and I and saying that he wanted to for us to disciple authors from Africa. So at that time we started with Kenya, Uganda, and our neighbors. By the grace of God, now we are in 17 countries in Africa. And what we are saying is that now more authors are actually, African authors, are actually writing. And so that is also increasing the ability for us to be able to read. Because if you have your 500 family and friends and network, and you tell them, please, we use promote me. They promote you, they buy the book. Sometimes most of them don't read. They're like, okay, fine. You just put it there. But at least more authors are making effort to have their networks reading. And so we are saying if right now I think we are 1,300 authors, if 1,300 people have written, okay, not even have written, there are many more out there. I'm saying the ones in our network at CLC Kenya. So 1,300, and they have even just 100 people reading their books. We are getting somewhere. And of course, I know there are other organizations that have authors, networks, and people are reading. So when I look at today and compare with 10 years ago, we've made tremendous effort. Fantastic. We have made progress, and we are telling our community, advocating. When you go to a bookshop or online space, e-commerce platforms, as you check out, I love TDJX, I use him a lot. As you check out TDJX and his books, also check a book by Modoni, by Abia, you know, by Salilimo, by, you know, a local name, so that we can promote the reading and the writing culture in Africa.
Fantastic, fantastic. I'm so challenged this morning myself by you, Abia. I'm going to improve on my reading. Trust me, you've changed a life. I'm one of them. And thank you so much. I just want, you know, time is not on our side, but thank you so much for having and making time to just be here with us this morning. You've seen how many lives you've impacted this morning. Many lives you've touched, and I just want to thank God for that. Thank you so much, and I hope I'll be having Ella next. So God bless you. Asanteni sana. To my viewers and my listener, wherever you are, just want to say thank you so much also for creating time. You've been here, you've, you know, engaged with us and given us your comments and compliments. Asante sana. And also a very special group of people, our donors, our partners, people who ensure that we are on air and bring you this kind of content, beautiful, clean content. We want to say thank you so much. And if you want to just bless us in any way, you can use our paybill number 316, and the account number will be your telephone number. Send in whatever the Lord blesses you with. God bless you, and see you again tomorrow on Financial Clinic. God bless you and keep you. Have a beautiful Tuesday.